Today in Planet Progress, we dive into one of the most popular pastimes in the world today, that being video games, and more specifically, video game consoles.
Let's find out where it all began.
The video game console begins in 1967 when a German television engineer invented what he called the brown box.
This console came with one original game called Chase Game, where two players can control their own square on screen and chase each other.
Then in 1972, the Magnavox Odyssey was invented. This was the first commercial video game console. However, many people did not see its potential, and the Odyssey soon died off.
But there is one video game console that started the craze. With their massive success with arcade games, Atari brought their immensely popular game Pong from the arcade to the home in 1975. They became a household name and brought video game consoles to the masses.
With Pong being such a massive success, Atari wanted to keep the ball rolling and decided to release a new console in 1977 called the Atari 2600. And with it came some new technology, like games that were in separate cartridges that allowed for the buyer to pick and choose what they wanted to play and not being held down to just a single game. Many popular titles came from this, like Space Invaders and Breakout.
Then, in 1980, there was the very first console war. Atari had a new challenger, and it was Mattel with its Intellivision system. The Intellivision featured better graphics than the 2600 and even introduced the first synthesized voice from a game console. This encouraged third-party game developers like Coleco and Activision and drive the success of consoles even further.
In 1985, a Japanese card game company jumps into the market, and that company is Nintendo. They quickly became the highest sold 16-bit game console in history. The NES also conceived many popular titles still relevant today, like Super Mario Bros., The Legend of Zelda, and Final Fantasy.
Fast forward 10 years to 1995, and in comes Sony with the PlayStation. Introducing all new technology like three-dimensional gameplay and CD-ROM game discs, which drastically drops the price, making gaming more affordable. 5 years later, Sony will release the PlayStation 2 and will be the most sold console of all time, selling over 155 million units.
From there on out, video game consoles have kept improving and advancing.
Now let's see where video game consoles are today.
The current frontrunners in the video game consoles today are Sony with their PS4 Pro that offers stunning 4K graphics and HDR gaming, and Microsoft with their Xbox One X that features 12GB GDDR5 memory, making it the most powerful console to date, and Nintendo with their Switch that bridges at-home and portable gaming into one.
Together, all these consoles generate roughly 120 million users per month, and that number is only growing.
With all the hype around video games, it's interesting to see where they're heading and what we might expect in the future.
The future of game consoles is difficult to predict and could go many different routes. Some say that virtual reality will be implemented into these systems and make for a more immersive experience. But some developers say that this is not what the majority of the players want.
That is the main decider on what comes next. These corporations have grown and have reached large numbers and are willing to listen to their customers and invest in the next big idea.
And just like any technology, video game systems are becoming faster, smarter, and more realistic. With so many people invested in video games, only time will tell what comes next.
Thank you for watching this episode of Planet Progress on video game consoles.
We'll see you next time.